Sabrina Carpenter, the singer, becoming the latest pop superstar to get into a feud with the Trump White House. The fight began with Carpenter slamming the administration for using one of her songs in a video applauding ICE raids.
That's probably not.
I wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
The clip posted by the official White House X account, Twitter account, shows a video montage of ICE officers chasing and handcuffing people to a remix of Carpenter's song Juno. The post includes text reading "bye-bye" with a heart eyes emoji. This is so sick.
Yeah, the cruelty is really
I am sorry.
Staggering.
This is so sick. The singer responded with a video, a post of her own, writing, "This video is evil and disgusting. Do not ever involve me or my music to benefit your inhumane agenda." White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson responded with a statement referencing Carter's lyrics, writing, "Here's a short and sweet message for Sabrina Carpenter. We won't apologize for deporting dangerous, criminal, illegal,
I'm tired of the
murderers
lies. Let's just
pedophiles from our country."
No. We're not going to read the lies. You know, they are getting students and Jacob Saber. Am I not supposed to say this yet?
What? Just hang on, okay?
They are. ICE is getting innocent people that are going to see their family. They are busting down like kindergartens and pulling out kindergarten teachers. They're
okay, Morning Joe. More like Morning Joe Stalin. When did this happen? They're out here talking like they're on the HasanAbi broadcast. What the f? They literally hung out with Donald Trump. Remember, they kissed the ring. What a shocking. Yeah, Morning Joe, more like Maoist Joe. Yeah, good morning. It's a beautiful morning for revolution. How the f is Morning Joe saying this about the Trump immigration agenda? They literally went to Mar-a-Lago to be like, "I will suck your dick, Mr. President. I love you." What the hell?
Throwing mothers to the ground. It's savage. The savagery, the cruelty, and it's something they celebrate. They love this. They think inside the White House. I mean, Donald Trump has said before he doesn't want to see mothers ripped from the arms of children. But that's exactly what they're doing.
Bro, what is happening? Liberals are talking about immigrant parents getting ripped away from their children's arms. Oh my God. Are we there? I mean, you guys didn't seem to care about this shit a while back. No disrespect. I love that you're there now. I'm glad that you're there now, but I wish you could keep up this energy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I saw this. ICE detains second grade student visiting family for Thanksgiving. A 7-year-old student and his mother were detained by immigration authorities while traveling over Thanksgiving break, according to Superintendent of Vermont's Winooski School District. I feel so much safer. I'll keep it real with you guys. These sick and twisted 7-year-olds need to be purged out of the nation-state boundary immediately. 7 years old. ICE detains a teenage student at Boston Airport, flying home to surprise family for Thanksgiving. Despite judge's orders expressly blocking deportation, agents took her to Honduras just hours later.
Agents at Boston's Logan International Airport.
It's the day before Thanksgiving. We're all supposed to be with our families, and yet she's taken away from her family this time of year. It's cruel and unconscionable behavior, and we're not going to tolerate it.
Pomerleau says Lopez Beloza, a student at Babson College in Massachusetts, was planning to surprise her family for the holiday, but was picked up before she could even board her flight.
She was scanning her boarding pass, so she was told there was something wrong with the ticket. I don't believe that to be the case. Something must have happened between when she had her passport scanned in Logan Airport.
CBS Austin reached out to the Department of Homeland Security asking why Lopez Beloza was detained and later deported. We've yet to receive a response. According to a report from the Boston Globe, there's been a removal order for Lopez Beloza since 2017. Pomerleau says he was blindsided by her deportation.
We have a decision from 6:08 p.m. on Friday saying she shall not be removed from Massachusetts. But more importantly, she shall not be removed from the United States of America until we get to the bottom of why she was detained in the first place.
The Massachusetts lawyer says this highlights the larger issue with the current immigration system in the country.
And we need to have better immigration policies here. You know, she's a dreamer and she's living a draconian nightmare right now. This is not what should be happening ever.
We attempted to reach out to Lopez Beloza, but we were unable to connect with her. She's still in Honduras. A family friend of hers told the Boston Globe that it's unbelievable. He couldn't believe about what he had heard about what happened to her. We're going to continue to follow up on this story as it.
I don't know what to say. It's just transparently evil. Also, Sabrina Carpenter got 1.4 million likes on this post, dude. But that ratio was so fat, it seems like even Morning Joe is on board now with a pro-immigrant agenda.
Tenfold compared to the first term. It's why he's upside down on immigration, an issue that should be his strongest, because the southern border is shut down.
Yeah, and as much as Trump has said he doesn't want that, but at the same time, he sat down with 60 Minutes a month ago and was asked about immigration and his sinking poll numbers. Like, well, we have to go harder. We have to go harder with the deportation, doubling down on this. But you're right. It's trolling. It is government by trolling. The idea of putting out these slick videos that they know are going to get a reaction.
The other hot drama I miss. What is this?
Of the moment. And not just Sabrina Carpenter, but a lot of Americans have said, we don't want this. This isn't what we want. We're disgusted by this. So for more writing on the idea of immigration, joining us now, opinion columnist, New York Times, David French. His latest piece is titled, "I've been doing this work for 25 years, and I've never seen such fear." David, talk to us about who you're quoting there. What do they mean?
Yeah, I was quoting a guy named Matt DiMatteo, who runs a group called the New Life Centers of Chicagoland that reaches out to immigrant communities and has been reaching out to immigrant communities since the big influx started during the Biden administration. And what he was talking about was the response to this Operation Midway Blitz that you saw headlines across the United States of this incredibly brutal crack.
The worst part is they read articles like this and they think it's awesome because they don't see immigrants as human.
Down in the city of Chicago, just with all of the scenes and all of the incidents you've seen of brutality, of tackling people, of violence directed against protesters, for example. This was happening in Chicago. And this ministry that I was talking about as part of our 2025 giving guide at the New York Times was one that reached out to migrants as they were hunkering down, as they were protecting and sheltering in their homes, and was reaching out to people to keep them under a roof, to keep them supplied with food and with clothing. And I was trying to make the point that when there is American brutality, there is also still American compassion. And it's really time to double down on the people who are showing compassion.
David, one church institution that's showing compassion is the Catholic Church. The Pope has been extraordinarily heroic and in doing his job. I mean, he's quoting Jesus. He's quoting the most obvious parts of the red letters, which of course leads to the question: how do so many people who grew up in our churches, who grew up as Baptists like me across the Deep South, how are so many people turning a blind eye not only to the savagery here, but also to a president they voted for?
I don't know, maybe because this is the purest expression of American Christianity for them, which is just being cruel to the vulnerable, being uniquely cruel. I'm not a r/atheist style guy at all. You guys know this. I respect people who want to practice their religion in their own way, whichever way that may be. But God damn it, dude. Like, American self-described Christians are some of the biggest assholes of all time, man. They would an entire orphanage full of children and then turn around and be like, well, you know what? God forgives me. Okay? I actually found God. And you know who actually would potentially, hypothetically, an orphanage full of children? Transgenders. It's like, what do you mean transgenders? You just did that. Like, what are you talking about? You can't just like point to a random hypothetical about a marginalized population potentially doing the crime that you just did. What are we doing? It's so crazy. I feel like American evangelicals they move in such a strange way, man. Even as someone who thinks like, live and let live, let people believe whatever they want to. It creates a lot of resentment for someone like me. I promise you, go on Twitter, scroll your For You page for like 8 scrolls. You're inevitably going to arrive at someone saying the most heinous shit you've ever heard. about immigrants or about gay people, trans people, whatever, poor people, and how they deserve to die, click on their profile. There is a 85% chance that that person has a cross on their profile being like, American of real good Christian faith, cryptocurrency entrepreneur. Every time, brother, every time I see someone talking about like SNAP benefits and how like black women deserve to die because they should work harder and they shouldn't be on SNAP, I click on their profile. It's a dude who in the description of their profile straight up says like, I love God, Jesus is my savior. No, the he's not. He is not your savior, bitch. You are not a Christian. You are doing devil worship. You worship the devil. You worship capital. Get the out of here. Anytime. Yo, self-described Christians are so annoying. Christians who are just Christian and chill about it are fine. But there is a very high likelihood if a is like writing about how aggressive they are with their Christianity, with their faith, they are probably a massive piece of shit. I have yet to see a who doesn't wear that shit on their sleeve. I've yet to see a who wears that shit on their sleeve be a nice person, bro. I'm sorry. Corinthians, Christ is King. These are the types of Twitter bios you must avoid. Okay? Dudes with like Christian scripture in their bios are some of the most evil people I've ever met. They are doing a very bad job promoting Christianity. Okay? Not to get all Catholic with it because I'm in Ireland, but god damn, dude. The point is you should be a better person, right? If you're a person of faith, you should be an even better person, right? You have these rigid rules of morality and what to do and what not to do. God damn. So lame. I hate it.
Twice, calling God's children. Let's make no mistake of this. Jesus was very clear. We're all God's children. And in fact, when he talks about the last being first and the first being last, well, you could probably put billionaire leaders on one side of that and Somali immigrants on the other. When he calls Somalis, quote, human garbage, that is something, again, for people who didn't grow up in the Baptist church, or didn't grow up reading the red letters, didn't grow up in the Gospels, didn't grow up like you and me, reading about this in, Sunday school and training union. I mean, the thing is, when you get into the Gospels, they're not.
When did this whole anti-Somali tirade even begin? I don't know. It's just like, it's always been a thing, but it's never been at the forefront like this. I guess it's a way for Donald Trump to shit on Muslims without like actually shitting on all Muslims, I guess, because he can't shit on all Muslims because then the Gulf leadership is going to hear that and be like, all right, bro, maybe dial it back. We're giving you like $7 quintillion for your stupid ass fail son and his real estate projects. Like, dial it back, please. So this way he can be Islamophobic and anti-black at the same time. And then when asked, he could just be like, no, I'm just talking about Somalians. Because I have noticed that, like, I mean, he shits on Muslims quite a bit, but even with Zoran, he didn't really, like, do Islamophobia as much.
So many rules, people like to talk about rules. The commandment is just time and time again, blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy.
This guy's still talking about a Christianity that unfortunately does not exist in the United States of America in modern day.
You do to the least of these among me, you do to me myself. And again, you just can't keep going back to the story of the Good Samaritan enough, where Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself. They ask, who's my neighbor? And he picks the most despised foreigner, the Samaritan, to say, that's your neighbor, and that's who you love, and that's who will be first in the kingdom of God. So again, a very long windup to ask this question. How have these people been so programmed to forget every single thing they were taught in church, in Sunday school, in training union, on Wednesday night Bible studies? Like, how have they been so programmed that they completely put this political, I don't even know what to call it, over the teachings of Jesus Christ? Because make no mistake, read the Bible.
The Somali shit is also kind of dumb, aside from being super racist, because like most Americans only know like what a Somali person is from Captain Phillips. And you literally have to show them with like a PowerPoint presentation what a Somali person is, right? And the areas where there are a lot of Somali people is like Minneapolis, right? And it kind of feels like Minneapolis is pretty chill about the Somali population. They seem to be happy about it. It's not like they're voting for Republicans out of racist backlash against Somali population rising in Minneapolis. So there's just not really, like, most Americans don't even know what Somalia is, you know? Like, you need to be locked in. When Trump shits on Mexicans, at least every American knows what a Mexican is, okay? I'm willing to bet most Americans have no clue when Trump says, oh, Somali, the Somalians, they're invading the country. And it's like, most Americans are like, what the is a Somalian? Which is not even what you're supposed to, it's Somali, not Somalian. But regardless, you know what I mean? I also do have to go back to Joe Rogan again here, because like a lot of the transgenders in sports narratives came from Joe Rogan. And I do legitimately think this Somalis in Minneapolis, Minnesota conversation came into play after Joe Rogan, that moron, on his podcast was like, yo, Tim Walz is actually changing the flag of Minnesota to the Somali flag. I still see that dumbass clip on my timeline, dude. That shit still goes viral every now and then. God, Americans have the weirdest gripes. Republicans have the weirdest gripes of all time. Oh, my state flag. They changed the beautiful state flag of Minnesota. How dare they? We are utterly dominated by the dumbest people, like hearing nonsensical bullshit from other dumb people and then confidently repeating it to audiences that are so vast and so large, also filled to the brim with even dumber people who then turn around and believe the shit that they're hearing. Ridiculous world. Ridiculous hell world we live in. Up.
David's that's outside toward the tourist city center. One of the reasons why we want to show you this is the impact is already being felt. This taqueria up here decided to close its doors because not only they're scared for their customers.
Yeah, they spent the last 3 months complaining about Charlie Kirk too.
They're scared that for their workers as well. And you see signs like this one. Everyone is welcome here except ICE. And then you see this right here. Do not have consent to enter this business unless they have a valid judicial warrant. So you see these signs from the community already out here. We'll show you this protest that we shot the other night. People making their voices heard throughout this city. They are concerned about the actions that could take place in the next 24 hours or so. On top of that, what they also have been telling people is almost treat this like COVID. Instead of going out for your day-to-day necessities, stay inside, shelter in place. The hope here is that they feel like they might be able to sort of outlast the actions here by Border Patrol. No one knows exactly where they're going to be over the first 24 hours, and that's something that has a lot of people concerned. We even talked to the mayor-elect, someone who hasn't taken office yet, about the actions that could be taking place in this great American city.
What they're seeing on TV and reports that they're seeing is not that Border Patrol is going after the most violent criminals. You know, that's not what they're seeing. What they're seeing is what appears to be racial profiling of brown people, and then going after these individuals and treating them like they are these significantly violent offenders.
Something to mention here, the mayor-elect hasn't taken office yet. That doesn't happen until January. She's the first Hispanic mayor in the city's history. But something that other folks are talking about, especially in the crime space, is the fact that people here in this state can carry guns. You don't have to have a license to carry concealed weapons here in this state. And they're concerned if somebody jumps out with a mask, could they be responded to with someone shooting because they were in fear of their life? So there's a conversation about keeping everyone safe, not only the Border Patrol agents, but obviously the people in these neighborhoods. You look at the crime numbers year to date, the numbers are actually down in terms of total crime and murders in the city of New Orleans. They feel like they have some positive motion when it comes to cracking down on crime. They are scared that this action will actually have some communities actually not calling 911. It's something that we'll see playing out over the next few days. We'll be here on the ground to check it all out. Kate?
Yeah, positive momentum on bringing down those crime statistics is also a theme amongst the cities that we've seen.
Yeah, just like in Chicago. Immigration officers in Chicago to detain and deport violent offenders that DHS said were released from jails because of sanctuary policies. The agency said it arrested more than 4,000 people, but only about 120 of those have a criminal record. Wow. Incredible crime prevention. Thank you, sir.
These operations are already taking place. Ryan Young on the ground there for us. Thank you so much.
Breaking this morning, the Department of Homeland Security revealed it has now launched a new immigration crackdown in New Orleans. Federal authorities previously said they aim to arrest up to 5,000 people there. With us now is Tricia McLaughlin, Homeland Security Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs. Tricia, great to see you this morning. What are the contours of this operation in New Orleans? What will it look like?
John, thank you so much for having me. So Catalina Crunch, which we are launching today down in New Orleans, we're first and foremost really focusing on those worst of the worst criminals, those criminals who have previously been locked up by local authorities. But then because New Orleans functions as a sanctuary city, those individuals were not released to ICE. They were instead released back onto New Orleans streets. So we're talking about child who are on our list of targets, burglars, gang members. Those individuals
Child as opposed to other kinds of. Also, what if I were to I know the numbers don't actually match up with this reality that I'm presenting, but what if it did? What is a child like a minor having an age appropriate relationship with another minor? Like what does that mean? Are there that are not into children? Like, is she making the actually it's a phobophilia argument? Like what the does that mean? She said, oh, the child, we got to apprehend these child. Guys, we're not going after adults that are because the president is one. We're going after children that are. We have to arrest children for having age-appropriate relationships because someone needs to be arrested. We have to tackle the dating market for our big, beautiful president. Our big, beautiful president is having a hard time in the dating marketplace of children. So we have to arrest the children that are having age-appropriate relationships so that there isn't any children to go on these dates so that my big, beautiful president can go on better dates and have better success with the children he's trying to. Is that what we're doing at the Department of Homeland Security? Tricia McLaughlin? What a insane thing, by the way. None of it is true. Yeah, the child are hogging up the adult market. They're really up the bag for adult out here.
are highly targeting, and we will continue whether it be 5,000 arrests or beyond.
So the president yesterday spoke extensively about his feelings about security and immigration and asylum in different parts of the country. He said he does not want people from Somalia here. He called them garbage. The Wall Street Journal estimates there are some 40,000 people from Somalia, born in Somalia, living in Minnesota right now. How many of them, how many of the 40,000 people born in Somalia living in Minnesota do you consider to be garbage?
John, we're really looking at the data, the analysis here.
Yeah, John, approximately about 78 to 83% of Somalis in Minneapolis are garbage, according to our current estimates. And the remainder, that is around 17%, are actually very fine people. That's right. And we're trying to get those numbers down to the best of our ability. Our analysis has shown that, you know, we gotta deal with the 83% garbage people that are parasitic forces that are actually both simultaneously controlling the international banking system. That's right. The Somalis are doing that, while also they're lazy and taking advantage of the welfare programs that exist. And see, they control Hollywood as well, these Somalis. And what we have to do for these Somalis is we have to deal with them, these parasitic Somalis. Because at the end of the day, John, we must secure a meaningful existence for the future of our white children. I know I added a 15th word onto that instead of using the traditional 14 word, because sometimes I like to add an extra word, you know, to really confuse the onlookers. Okay? I mean, that's what this argument is. Like, what do you mean? There's just some of them are garbage people. Like, that's what we're doing now? At least Trump won. They would say stuff like, oh, he didn't mean it. Now they're like, yeah, he meant it. They are garbage. The f are we doing? Yeah, she said facts over feelings, actually. Somalis are human garbage. Wow, thank you for the facts. Kind of feels like that's your feeling, you asshole.
Particularly out of Minneapolis and other parts of the country where we're seeing Somalia, there's widespread fraud, particularly marriage fraud when it comes to immigration. We're looking at criminality here. Homeland Security has very reliable data here and analysis that we can go after these individuals and make sure that they're not a public charge on our communities, and they're also not a public threat to the American people.
My question is, all of them? The president says he doesn't want them here. He called them garbage. Do you consider that to be all of the 40,000 people born in Somalia now living in Minnesota?
John, this is not about politics. This is about public safety. We saw what just happened last week with the terrorist attack against us here in our nation's capital, where one of our great heroes, Sarah Beckstrom, was killed. That's what the precipice of this was. That's why we have to get back to base camp and make sure we are prioritizing the American people's safety. It cannot be overstated the position the Biden administration put us in when it came to vetting, letting some of these individuals under these parole programs where there was little to no vetting, no biometric data, no criminal background history, no cyber, no financial crime history. They were really relying on people to vouch for these individuals and say they should be in the country. When it comes to asylum claims as well.
The marriage fraud thing is horseshit. Is a conspiracy theory about Ilhan Omar and her family. The right keeps trying to push. I guess they moved on from just saying Ilhan Omar is doing it to like every Somali person is doing it now. Yeah. So Trump hates all Somalis because like 40 dudes engaged in a fraud scheme, but he commutes the sentence of a zillionaire who defrauded thousands of people. Kind of like him murdering random sailors while pardoning drug traffickers. Yeah. Commutation Trump issued to David Gentile wipes away all further fines and restitution. Gentile had been sentenced to 7 years for his role. Dude, I swear to God, he's doing a bit column A, bit column B. Where on the one hand, he's like all Somalis are doing fraud. And then the next day or the same day, he's like, actually, here's a white fraudster that I'm going to pardon. One day, he's like, Maduro is a narco trafficker. No evidence whatsoever for this, by the way. The next day, he's like, but this Honduran president who actually went to prison for literally shipping in 400 tons of cocaine to the United States of America, that guy we're pardoning. Art of the deal. He's doing Full Metal Alchemy. You know, there's a delicate balance that must be struck. If you are going to blame an entire group of people for engaging in fraud, what you must do is find one of the most high profile white fraudsters you can and instantly pardon them, just so people really understand what you're trying to do here. You're basically trying to say, I don't give a f about fraud. I just want to use the fraud to cast a shade of doubt on an entire population of people that I just want to remove from the American boundaries. Yeah, I saw how some Somali people are responding. They're mocking Israel and Trump in the White House. Somalis are mocking U.S. racism by joking that Minnesota was promised to them 3,000 years ago. Except the problem here is some white guy's going to see this and lose his mind and then do a shooting or some shit. And I'm terrified of that. Booking my flight from Kenya to the motherland soon. Mall of America. Hashtag Minnesomalia. Can confirm that right-wing accounts are taking it literally. Ugh. Yeah, another classic. My enemies are incapable of making jokes. They are utterly incapable of humor. They are demonstrating utmost sincerity when they make these things that you call jokes. Yeah, oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, Minnesota has a major Somali population, except 90% of them are U.S. citizens, by the way. He's just shitting on U.S. citizens who are black and Muslim. Like, that's what this is. He just thinks that it's more appropriate to do so from the context of like, oh, they're immigrants, so they're not actually real Americans. Yeah, they can vote. They do vote. Yeah, that's the other side of the story is like, it's kind of difficult to be an undocumented migrant coming into the United States of America all the way from Somalia. So when I say 90% are American citizens, that means the remaining 10%, like the overwhelming majority of that remaining 10%, if not all of them, are also on either temporary protected status or have the proper paperwork and clearance to be on U.S. soil. Just so you understand, it's not like it's just not. It's not the same as that trek all the way from Guatemala or Mexico or whatever. He's just shitting on people who are legally here by claiming that they're illegal. I wonder why he thinks they are illegal. I wonder why so many white Americans also happen to believe that they are illegal. They're American citizens. I wonder why. I wonder why they think it's illegal. Anyway, look at this idiot. American Papa Bear. This has to be one of the most ridiculous takes I've ever heard. This is literally just flat out lies. He said that Minnesota was promised to Somalians 3,000 years ago and that the book of Genesis says that you must honor Somalians. This must be one of those 70 IQ people that we've heard about. Yeah, he's 70 IQ, not you moron, because you can't tell when someone is very clearly making a joke.
Yo, Minnesota was promised to us Somalis 3,000 years ago. And if you disagree, you're an anti-Christian bigot and you need help immediately. Also, if you read Genesis 12:3, it says that those who bless Somalis will be blessed, and those who try to harm them will bring harm upon themselves. I didn't say that. Genesis 12:3. Just saying.
Check account location, probably America. This one is so dumb that I assume this is an American. Yep, called it. Yeah, this one is too stupid to be one of those like. This one is too stupid to be an account from India. Okay, that's one of our own. I can smell a homegrown moron like this because the Indian accounts know exactly what this is referencing because they're also referencing it on their alt account that is acting as though they're from Israel. Okay, that's how I know. That's how I know this is a homegrown American moron. Okay, and not some dude sitting in a bot farm, because the dude sitting in a bot farm knows exactly what this talking point is because they're using it all the time to defend Israel on their pro-Israel accounts.